That's called the net filtration pressure. That's going to be 10 millimeters of mercury. Glomerular blood hydrostatic pressure. This gives you the legend down here. GBHP, glomerular blood hydrostatic pressure. CHP, capsular hydrostatic pressure. And blood colloid osmotic. Let's put osmotic concentration of the blood. That's what that is. Blood osmotic concentration, basically, is what that is. And so those are the forces. So right here now, let's go down here. And here's my little deal on this right here. PEFF, that's effective filtration pressure. Now, Adrian, that's got to be a positive number. Effective filtration pressure, if that ain't a positive number, you and I would be in trouble. We'd be in trouble, big time. And so the forces that, in other words, must subtract the forces that oppose glomerular blood hydrostatic pressure. This is not hard, but it's something you haven't heard before, right? You haven't heard this, have you? Most of them we didn't go over this in 2401 in the lab. We talked about filtration. All right, now right here, PEFF, that's effective filtration pressure, and then I think I have the same numbers. It doesn't, again, y'all, the numbers here, because I'll change the numbers up on the test. So the numbers don't make any difference as long as they come out of in teaching. In going over the situation, the numbers don't make that much difference as long as it comes out of a positive number. And so we got that PEFF is effective filtration pressure. That you have to know. That's effective filtration pressure. And PEFF in this case now, it won't be the same in everybody. Sure it won't be. But in this case, the effective filtration pressure is 10 millimeters of mercury, so that passes. That's good. And so note, if the forces equal 0, then there is renal shutdown. Okay, everybody kind of understand that? Glomerular blood hydrostatic pressure, blood osmotic pressure, capsular hydrostatic pressure. The glomerular blood hydrostatic pressure has to be a stronger force than those two opposing forces. And I always use that little situation. If I'm pushing the door on this side, and I use those two women as an example, if they're pushing from that way, from that side, one of them represents capsular hydrostatic pressure, the other one represents blood osmotic pressure, and if they can outpush me, then no urine is being formed, and that's renal shutdown, and I have to get on dialysis. I have to do something. In order to live, because I'm not getting rid of the nitrogen, the ammonia. I'm not getting rid of the urea. It's building up in my system. I'm going to get uremic acid poisoning, uremia, and so there it is right there. And I just want to show you that. Any questions on that? Anybody? Does everybody kind of understand that? Okay. Okay. See, I couldn't put two of these big guys over there on the other side of the door because they could out-push me. See, so I definitely have renal shutdown. These two women might be able to out-push me too, but I just gave that example. Okay. All right. Now, right here, everybody, tubular reabsorption. All this means is that our system, we're going to reclaim. That's all this means. We're going to reclaim some of that stuff that filtered across. Some of that stuff that went across, there's some ions, there's water. There's stuff that we got to reclaim. We can't lose it all. If we lose it all, we would become dehydrated, and that would be our electrolyte balance would be all screwed up. If we couldn't reclaim a lot of this stuff. So say 100. Okay, here's the way it goes. Basically, what happens, number-wise, there's 125 millimeters, mLs, of filtrate each minute. Our bodies, we're going to reclaim, this just shows you how important this is from a perspective, we're going to reclaim 124 mLs. In other words, that filters across 125. Our bodies are going to reclaim that much per minute. This is constantly working. Now, you might not feel like you have to go to the bathroom. You probably don't at this point. But that doesn't mean your kidneys are not working. They're constantly forming urine. And once enough urine gets in that bladder and those stretch receptors reach your brain, then you realize you've got to go. Okay? All right, so right here, tubular reabsorption, the movement of materials back into the blood, that's it. It involves passive mechanisms and active mechanisms. Passive transport and active transport are both involved here. All right, and so that's all. Active transport requires energy and a carrier molecule. Passive is just going with the concentration gradient. Now, with the concentration gradient is from high concentration to one to lower concentration. That's with the concentration gradient. So that's all that has reference to. So tubular reabsorption and examples of select, okay, glucose. Now, I'm not going to be picky on this at all. I'm giving you an example. Notice glucose, a lot of glucose ends up in the urine. We need it back though. But if you've got diabetes now, too much of that glucose, it's urinated out, and with diabetes. But right here now look, glucose, active transporter, here I just say occurs primarily throughout the walls of the proximal convoluted tubules. I'm not going to ask you that. I don't even try to remember all this stuff, where these things are specifically actively transported. And then right here, I've got right here, sodium, active transport primarily in the proximal, but also in the distal convoluted. That's in the, this is active transport. So these things are taken back, they're taken back up. Active transport of sodium causes, of course, if sodium moves in, now one thing that will increase the reabsorption of sodium is going to be, too much, is going to be salt. Remember how we talked about salt? A lot of salt is going to end up triggering aldosterone production, which aldosterone causes sodium reabsorption. Water moves in, blood pressure goes up. So there's a little balance in here. There's definitely a little balance. And but active transport of sodium causes water and chlorine to follow and so forth to be a passive transport. In other words, if sodium is actively transported, chlorine, unlike charges that attract, osmotic concentration goes up, then water comes in. You kind of see that, Jamie? Water comes in. If sodium goes in, sodium's in the blood, chlorine, unlike charges attract, sodium chloride, osmotic concentration in the blood goes up, osmotic concentration goes up, and water then moves in. Water moves from a region of low osmotic concentration to one of high osmotic concentration. So water moves in. And too much of that, of course, too much of that stuff like that, definitely has an effect on blood pressure. And so there you have that. And so there's the situation. Now, amino acids, I just have an active transport. Amino acids are actively transported. See, what I'm trying to tell you is that in this filtration, all the good stuff, as well as bad stuff, is lost. We have to reclaim the good stuff. And so the system is set up active transport and all that kind of stuff for that. All right, so that's just water, obligatory, controlled by sodium. Obligatory means have to. In other words, if the osmotic concentration in the blood gets a little bit high, as it moves up, then, the osmotic concentration is higher here than outside, then water is going to move in. And so that's obligatory, have to. And then another thing on water reabsorption is facultative, happens when the blood water is low, and the antidiuretic hormone. The antidiuretic, ADH vasopressin, will get involved in helping us reclaim some water. Remember how we always talk about how alcohol overrides the antidiuretic effect? And so with alcohol, people are going to have to go to the bathroom. And the antidiuretic hormone is not functioning anymore, along with a lot of other things. All right, okay, so there's the way that goes. Carrier molecules become functional in the distal, well, that's, and I put right here, diuretics inhibit this mechanism, and they do. I've got to look up this one right here. Y'all always remember this one right here. This one right here is called HCT, hydrochlorothiazide. Hydrochlorothiazide is a common diuretic that's in blood pressure medications. In fact, I've told you this. You've heard of that in your work. Hydrochlorothiazide?
They have like lisinopril, tramtarine.
What now?
Lisinopril, tramtarine.
Are those they're all diuretic type drugs?
But yeah, they're like the special kinds because they have like the brand names.
Okay, brand names, yeah. But the basic thing usually is hydrochlorothiazide, and then they have their brand names for it. Yeah,
it's
that's
both names together.
yeah. Hydrochlorothiazide. Yeah, that's in a lot of blood pressure.